Okay, that takes us to the Healthspan Elite Performance of the Week. Healthspan Elite are the nutritional supplier for the All Blacks. Been there for 5 years. You can trust them. Batch-tested products that keep the All Blacks as good as they can be. Jeff, your performance of the week.
Well, for me, it's Nicolas Sanchez because, you know, he scored all of Argentina's points. He scored a try. And like Mario Ledesma, the coach, you know, he's been trying for such a long time. He's been part of teams that have given the All Blacks a run for 50, 60, 70 minutes at times. But, you know, finally to see a guy like that come through, steer his team around the park. You mentioned it was a lucky try. But I think what we've seen potentially with this All Blacks team is that they've lacked a bit of experience at times in those positions. And you know, Nicolas Sanchez, what is he, 33, 34 years old? He's been around a long time. He knew that that was their opportunity. But for him to score all of their points, for me, that was the standout effort of the weekend for sure.
Got a lot of time for Nicolas Sanchez. I watched him in Buenos Aires do goal kicking, and I could have watched that all day long. Just as goal kicking practice.
I think the whole country can now.
Yeah.
It was very effective on the weekend.
Yeah, incredible.
For me, Marcos Kremer, the openside. 23 years old, you know, it was his 29th test. Some of these stats are mind-blowing. 14 carries, 1 defender beaten, 28 tackles, 3 miss, so he's tackling at 90%. Out of those 28, 14% of them are dominant. The only blemish was he gave away 4 penalties, but we obviously didn't take the points. We kicked to the corner and couldn't execute it or get points on the back of that. So I sort of ignored that when I looked at this. Obviously, Mateta was exceptional, Sanchez exceptional, but I think 14 carries by the big open side, 28 tackles, that's a big shift.
Can you give that some context? Like, how much is 28 tackles in comparison to what you'd normally
remember,
expect?
I think Sam Cane did 24, 25, and in the Eden Park test here maybe, or in Wellington, and then they put up a stat of the last 5 people, and I think it was him and Richie, and I think the top was about 24, or 24 or 25. That's 28 tackles, and that's 80 minutes effort, and let's not forget 14% is a really high dominant tackle number. So he's doing the business. He's a big body.
And a good shift for a flank is usually, what, 12 a game, 12 to 15?
Oh, mate, if you get, like if you, and the balance of possession is another thing. So it was pretty much 50-50. So both sides have got the opportunity to make similar amount of tackles. Obviously, if it's like 70-30, then 28's not as impressive. But at 50-50, it's really impressive. And the other thing to remember is they did a total of 152 tackles. So out of the 152, he's made 28.
Wow.
Pretty impressive.
So that he is the main tackler in that tackle. So if it's a gang tackle, there's 2 guys on the block. He's the guy who's making the majority of the hits.
Yeah. So he'd be. It's not assist tackling.
So he's just everywhere.
It's just and on the night I said after the call he was my player of the day before I even read the stats, because I felt like that Argentinian 7 jersey was just everywhere, and he defensively he was just into everything. Yes, he gave away the penalties, but you're going to get that when you're involved that much in the game, you know, because 14 carries is a hell of a lot as well.
Yes, yep.
You know, and he didn't make a lot of meters. They were tough carries because they didn't make a lot of meters through their carries, but he ran into brick walls and he did it effectively.
Yeah, Jeff, what do you make of it?
Well, I agree actually. I think you know, there's been a lot talked about the All Blacks loose forward trio and you know, whether we're missing a big body, and I don't know. I just feel like you know, whether he does come back into the mix at some point, we do need a big weapon like a Liam Squire maybe, that just...
Say Luke Jacobson. I'm on the Luke Jacobson bandwagon.
Well, it's been talked about. Are we missing that guy that just has more of a formidable presence in a 6 jersey or an 8 jersey?
In saying that,
you know,
Shannon Frizzell was very good in the first half. Like, he put in a lot of work.
And he's been very good against the Wallabies as well. And I suppose it comes into the spotlight because he is involved in a bit of a scuffle and things like that get questioned, but he's been pretty formidable. And I was talking a week ago, and I didn't make the comparison, but I said he's en route to being of that Jerome Kaino 6 presence of just doing the tough stuff and making the big tackles and doing that. He's not there yet, but he's definitely. And I'm sorry, and I'm going to be biased, and everyone will come at me again. But Akira Ioane was very effective in his 28 minutes, so I think we could see potentially him getting another opportunity to be that explosive, because he is an explosive customer. He's got the genetics to be as explosive as Liam Squire, and he just needs to be given a go. And he's been given the 28 minutes, but I'd like to see him get a big crack. But I certainly know where you're coming from.
So how would you see your loose forward mix, Jeff?
Well, I think, you know, what we have to get to go with is giving guys game time and realising that we are going through a bit of a rebuilding phase. You know, you got Sam there, you've got Artie, you've got Shannon, but you've got a guy in Hoskins Satutu as well that needs game time and needs to develop. Akita obviously has been given another crack to show his wares, so it's finding the mix. You know, is Artie Savia, does he belong at the back of the scrum? I'm not 100% sure. I think he's more, you know, on the side. So I think that's the area that they've got to make a decision on, really.
Yeah. Can I just jump in there? I've been speaking about that quick hook and go with Hoskins twice.
Yeah.
Did you see how effective that was?
It was. No one was near him.
It's just this blindside flanker is still scrumming and he's gone. It's one of the most effective attacking weapons, and that's what makes him such a great number 8 option. Is he's great in the line out, he's great in the carry, but he made like 20, like his run meters for the amount of time he was on the field are pretty impressive. It was like a 30-metre run, and he was, you know, mowed down, I think, tackled by your man Sanchez or Cabelli.
But also at the end of Super Rugby, you know, everyone was saying, people I were talking to were saying he's got to start for the All Blacks. That was some of the chat, start for the All Blacks. So now is it a case of, okay, well, we play him at 8, and, you know, you do use someone like Artie off the bench, and you have Sam at 7 and Shannon at 6. What do you do?
I know. Artie's so immense as well. It's just such a... Because we've got a lot of like-for-like players, I suppose, and I think we've got abundance of talent in the loose forwards.